Welcome back, everyone, to the 2022 MoldX 3D webinar series. My name is Alex Baker from the MoldX 3D North America office here in Farmington Hills, Michigan. Just a couple things before we get started. Please keep my microphones muted throughout the entire sessions to keep the webinar moving along as smoothly as possible. Any questions you have may be sent through the chat section of Teams, and I will help to answer all of those questions in our Q&A at the end of the session. A survey is going to be sent out later this week to help us improve on our webinar topics and the quality of discussion in the future. You can fill out that survey to receive a copy of this webinar recording to share with your colleagues or review at a later date. Now, injection molding cycle time is something that I think is very hotly contested and discussed in a lot of different scenarios, regardless of the size of your model, the complexity. I think cycle time and part quality are two of the most important discussion topics that are undergone. So in this webinar, we're going to be talking about how to not necessarily reduce cycle time. I think there's a very important designation between optimizing your cycle time and reducing your cycle time. So there's sometimes optimizing means increasing your cycle time. Really, we can use simulation to figure out how we can optimize or make our part quality as best as possible while trying to save on our manufacturing costs. Now, the injection molding cycle well, there's a lot of different parts to the injection molding cycle, but the three that we focus mostly on are the filling, packing, holding, and cooling. You can see that cooling takes up a vast majority of the cycle time pie here. You can see the filling stage takes up a small part, and also the packing stage takes up a significant chunk. So those are the three that I'm going to be focusing on in this webinar, and through these simulation results, we can really get an idea of how these three can be optimized. Again, optimization not necessarily meaning reducing, but making sure that we're getting the best cycle possible. All right, I am going to be doing most of this webinar inside of MoldX 3D Studio 2022. If you haven't had a chance to try out MoldX 3D Studio 2022, I definitely recommend it. There's a lot of cool tools that you can utilize. But I'm going to be focusing on a few results specific to cycle time optimization. The first of which being in the filling stage, we're going to optimize the filling time using the filling temperature results. Now, filling temperature, the reason we're using filling temperature is to get an idea of how the shear heating is impacting our final part. In an ideal world, in an optimized condition, the entire core, as we call it, or the center of our geometry is at the same temperature throughout the entire flow length. So that means that the temperature would be the same at the melt entrance as in the middle of my part as in the end of my part. But unfortunately, most of the time that